in the bans from BLG as they take 3 away from NaiYou.
Are we going to have an early Talia here for Knight? I'm curious about that. Also wondering if there is maybe a jungle matchup. They're banning Zed to protect if they want to blind jungle. But the Zed ban's an interesting one. As Rumble taken away. And what are we going to open here for BLG? Again, I know Zed and the Talia. Very good matchup if it is going to be Talia mid. But it is just going to be Bin rocking the Scion.
All right, so interested in getting himself one of those high-prio tanks. I do want to call out, I mean, Azir's available with no Orianna. That's definitely something of interest, probably to both of these mid laners. I know a lot of folks may be a little soured on Knight Azir after last night's performance and the earlier one up against Weibo, but he's still a plenty good Azir player, and it is still a plenty good champion. But Creme actually has leaned into this pick a lot over the last couple of years, played it a lot more, but particularly against Knight. He's usually the one that ends up with it when these two face off against each other in recent years. And this matchup will be no exception. Creme going to snap that one up. It's not his traditional melee mids, but, you know, you're a professional mid laner. You got to play the Azir in 2026.
Yeah, wondering if we get Talia here for Knight. Or, oh, Knight's going to bust out the Ziggs. He does really like this matchup. Ooh. Ziggs into Azir. Also gives you a way to actually play around the pillar with that satchel charge you have. So, kind of like the Ziggs here for Knight. Also, I mean, it would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that it could still be flexible with Viper bot if they wanted to put Ziggs down there. We haven't seen a lot of mage bot yet, but that gold buff can help you get to some of those mage items earlier, which are really big spikes when you finish them up. I know that we have seen a real lack of that as 369 point out a special pick for himself. Going to be the Mordekaiser. So we have a Scion first pick and 2 tank busters locked in immediately by Top Esports topside.
I like this from 369. I mean, I want to see this guy kind of man up, take some matters into his own hands here. He's the most veteran player on Top Esports. I think a lot of people would rank him as the best individual player on Top Esports. And it's time to show up and perform up against BLG. You need to be able to win a lane. And that's certainly not what transpired in game number 1. And it's a huge ask to put on JiaQi and Fengyue up against Viper and On. And you just saw Knight get a really strong counter pick into Creme on this Ziggs. So it's going to have to be 369, and he says he's up to the task.
I'll be honest, I don't really love the Mordekaiser here. I feel like we have 2 tank busting abilities to throw into Scion. And, I mean, Trundle ult turns him into, I don't want to say paper because it's still Scion, but you're going to take away a lot of resistances. Whereas, of course, Mordekaiser, you are opting into the dishonorable 1v1 because you are playing with an advantage in Death Realm. I don't think that Subjugate and Death Realm synergize, because if we're going to subjugate the Scion, we probably don't want to Death Realm him as well, as I don't believe that that carries over into the different realm. That might be funky. And also, if you subjugate Scion, you probably want everyone hitting him while his resistances are down and not to get 1v1. Yes. So I want to see if 369 and NaiYou can actually coordinate who is being subjugated versus who is being Death Realmed. If not, then that could be an oopsie. As Knight was so bored after game 1, he's just checking in his gacha game real quick. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I don't believe that Death Realm cleanses, you know, like applied status effects. So I think you would still be missing the resistances, but that is kind of putting a hat on a hat. No, like you don't really need to.
Death Realm's funky because like there's some things that come along and some things that don't. Like if you have a pet, it doesn't go into Death Realm, or like you Ornhorn doesn't go through. So, yeah, it's weird. Oh. Will still apply.
I'm hearing for Prod it'll still apply. But I still, I think even then, though, I think your other points are still true, though, right? You want to have everybody hitting him while you have the Subjugate. And I don't think... Listen, Scion's tanky, but you don't need 2 different tank-busting ultimates on the Scion. I think you would like to, you know, have some of those resources to use in other fights. So I think your underlying point's still valid here. Viper looking for one of his favorites, potentially the Kai'Sa, but it is going to be the Sivir at the end of the day instead, giving them that extra little bit of team fight power in the later game.
I will say, I don't love this bot lane choice for BLG. I know that Viper just had a massive game on Sivir yesterday in that game 3 win for AL, but I think that you are a bit vulnerable as Alistar here, and the Alistar is very much picked up so that it is not picked into Sivir. You really want, like, to not have Alistar into the Sivir, just given how Spell Shield works and the Alistar combo and the E. So I think that Alistar is very much picked up to be paired with Sivir, so that isn't played into it. But Alistar doesn't exactly have a happy game into the 4 champions that we're showing and now Poppy. So I was kind of expecting a different bot lane, just given that. With that said, having the Sivir move speed to play into a pretty short-range melee front line is quite good. So I think having the bonus move speed is going to make Mordekaiser and Trundle's life a lot harder. And I'm almost a bit surprised that they didn't try and go for something like Karma to just answer that move speed diff with the Mantra Shields, or at least have a little bit of threat in the lane phase against Sivir Alistar. I do still prefer the BLG draft quite a bit, just because I think that the Mordekaiser Trundle topside is a little funky, and trying to walk through the minefields, trying to walk through a team that's buffed up by Sivir's ult is not going to be an easy task. So really favor where BLG's at after the draft in this one.
And I mean, maybe you could shed some light on this one for me, Cubby. The weird pick to me is the Misfortune for JiaQi. It just feels like it doesn't really have a lot of enablers on the team composition. Nobody really going to be holding down folks for your bullet times. Yeah. You don't have any great targets. Like the Ziggs is going to be able to play at a long enough range that he's probably going to feel fine. Sivir is going to have the movement speed to get out, and you're going to be a sitting duck for Qiyana, for Mega Inferno Bomb, for Alistar, for Sion, anytime you try to channel that thing. So I think it's a tough game for JiaQi.
I agree, Gordo, as we dive into this game too and get a chance to hear some of the JiaQis.
Indeed. Find out. So we are back on to Summoner's Rift. NaiYou, found by Knight, takes a little bit of a rough trade. And this is the closest thing to a level 1 you get in 26.1, Cubby. 3 members show up to the bird camp, they put down a ward, and now it's time to lane.
MF plus Poppy, we'll see if they can get any sort of lane prio going early. As into the Alistar do have the ability to punish definitely a weaker marksman level 1, but I feel like these summoner spells weren't used super efficiently by top esports bot lane yet again. That heal didn't really get max value, even if we're going to use it with the spellbook to rotate that out soon. So, little inopportune here for top, as they find themselves on the back foot. Start off early here bot lane.
Counter jungling already for Shun, who will make use of that early ward that he threw down, go and steal away the Raptor camp, and now spots NaiYou going over to try to do the same to him, so he's going to try to hunt down that Trundle's Viper. Finds a hell of a trade in the bottom lane, and things are already starting to look dicey for NaiYou. He's going to have to give up on this game plan real quick.
You know, I'm just thinking of top esports, and I'm seeing a failed invade like this, and all I can think to myself is Cubby would never, you know? Like, if Cubby's making an invade, that thing's working and we're dying, you know? We're never backtracking it. And I mean, a lot of times, again, like that's where Cubby, I feel like, is a very special player. His ability to plan things out and to have these set paths to see how jungle is played more than just one rotation in advance. Like the ramifications of a play like that moving forward. And here, where are we at as top? Well, bot lane's getting blasted, mid's getting blasted, top's losing early. Mordekaiser needs a few levels of scale into this, but we're losing like 4 out of the 5 roles right now on the map. And it's not exactly where top wants to be, kind of back where they started after that game 1 in this game 2.
A tough characterization for the top esports, you know, room. It's particularly the jungle room after this cast from us here, Cubby. Just sitting back there thinking I should call him. We'll see what Cubby's up to.
That's fine. NaiYou's going to go check the match history and feel a little bit better about his state, you know, with Cubby falling 0-2 to the Noodles, which is not exactly what we want as HL either. So, bad day for top esports and top esports alum alike, as that is a tower shot.
Bin trying to get away, gets interrupted by the pillar, and now he is in way too deep. Top esports with a chance to pick up first blood, and they give it to 369. A sign of hope in the top lane, and maybe even some more as Knight under pressure in mid. Fengyue making his way up there, ticks over to level 3, has the full kit available, and that's more than enough to beat on this squishy Ziggs. Interrupted as he gets thrown back by the satchel charge. Now Shun going to try to put that shoe on the other foot. but flash away by Fengyue, and he will stay alive.
That was a really nice bait by Knight. He did play that calculated. This is a little scary, though. Does he need any help from Shun? No, Creme's out of mana. He's going to be okay. Very well played by Knight. As I will say that Bin did eat a tower shot off the claw from 369, so I think that's why he tried the TP out immediately. Bit ambitious, though, as Trundle was spotted on this top side. Of course, after Qiyana did force Trundle out of the bot side jungle, NaiYou was spotted on the cross. Bin tried the cheeky TP to get out, but NaiYou was on top of it, was able to help out his top laner, and they converted on a tower shot being taken. Bin took I'd say a riskier play to get out, and NaiYou able to punish with 369.
And now back to the scene of the crime, but look at that stack up. Pillar plus charge from Fengyue. NaiYou and Fengyue showing some of that experience together from the LDL. They sync their abilities, make another pick, and Top Esports are up 2-0.
Yeah, nice Poppy Trundle combo from our LDL standouts in NaiYou and Fengyue, who did play together on BLG Youth and did have success in the LDL. Did win a championship. NaiYou won MVP for a split. And these two were quite the combo as Top Esports kind of trying to find some of that LDL championship combo and develop these guys and hopefully being LPL champions on their side, which so far looks like we have a long way to go there. But a project for Top Esports this year with some younger pieces. And, of course, NaiYou climbing the ranks last year. Someone that we're hoping continues to be a promising piece of the LPL and making a nice play with his old support there. And Fengyue, that's a good combo.
Yeah, the heroic charge into the pillar. I didn't dare to hope for it in champions like Cubby. Nobody ever pieces these combos together, at least not frequently enough for my liking. But well done by NaiYou and Fengyue, showing that they can, in fact, execute at least 1-for-1 so far. We'll see if they're going to be able to keep that up as the game goes on, because that is a really powerful kind of snap-engage tool if you do find yourself in these circumstances where jungle support are near each other. Makes it a little bit more unpredictable. Nobody's going to flash a straight-up Poppy charge without any terrain near them, but by the time it shows up, it could very well be too late. Nice little hard-to-react combo there. As Dragon will stay alive. Bin ulting back to top lane. Make sure he doesn't leave it unguarded for too long, but this could be a tough little brawl for 369 as Bin is fresh off the item purchases.
A lot of MR in his kit and has Shun in his back pocket too. Getting back to lane. A little bit behind in terms of what he has available to him at the moment. But on this current inventory threshold, he will be 369, who is being attacked. Death Realm is cast. Shun will be here for afterwards.
Yeah, 369 going to have a couple of seconds here just to beat on Bin and try to get NaiYou over here to back him up. Flashes back towards his Trundle. Will get hit by the decimating smash, but will hold on to his life. So at the end of the day, it's ult and flash off of 369, but not going to be able to force him out of lane, still at over half HP. Fengyue making his way up here, looking like they might want to find a little bit more or something, but Bin and Jun, they know better.
Yeah, Shun has nothing else to do on this side of the map, and Fengyue was spotted. Whoa, he actually canceled his recall, and he's going to wait. They might go after 369, who is down flash ult.
Yeah, does not respect the potential for Shun to still be here, and he will drop down. Bin equalizes the kill score in the top lane.
Just one more wave waited, and it will be at the cost of a dragon, but it does buy Bin some breathing room and does punish 369, who was down flash and ult. So, trade made. We'll say NaiYou, I think the attempted hover he had was nice for 369, did help him get out of the first look, and did buy him a dragon. So I do want to give NaiYou some props. I feel like he responded well to that play, and 369 just, didn't respect the fact that Shun might be tanking his game a little bit. They did have a ward on the Raptors, which I feel like 369 shouldn't really cross the midpoint until they hopefully see Qiyana again, because the Qiyana topside camps would have been down. So I do feel like that's a wave he probably should have played a little bit further back on, but of course did not, and Shun punishes.
Shun makes a nice little move there to get Bin back into even Steven state in the top lane, which we talked about it over and over again in game number 1. Could really snowball these top lane advantages in 2026. So critical to not let your Scion just start getting bullied in this Mordekaiser lane. That said, Top Esports on top of the ball in terms of getting these grubs for themselves. Looks like they will be able to clean up all three. Shun not in position to show up here and try to contest any of them. And Viper takes a pretty big chunk in that bottom side as well from JiaQi, just throwing down the bullet time to be able to guarantee himself a little bit of a safer recall while the rest of his team works on those objectives topside.
Nashor's Tooth in inventory for Creme. Curious if they actually get Creme out into a side lane for anything. As you can do some damage with Nashor's on Azir, as, oh, that is a Death Realm cast for 369 that does cancel the Q channel, but Shun is here again once this expires.
And no flash once he gets out this time. He's going to have to try to take a long walk back, but nowhere to go. They donate the kill to Knight off the Mega Inferno Bomb. And just like that, Knight is starting to develop a bit of a lead again. Creme is ahead in gold for right now, but funneling that gold over to the Ziggs, definitely going to make life difficult. NaiYou going to pop the Subjugate on towards Bin. Seems to think he has an angle to chase this guy down. Flashes after him to chomp him again. And NaiYou will solo kill Bin in defense of the top lane tower.
Yeah, just presses R on Sion, says thank you for all those stats that you purchased. They're now mine, as he makes sure that the Sion falls. So kind of a bloody back and forth bout here top lane. We'll say again, ramifications across the map, not too many so far. I do think that BLG is happy to scale. If we want to talk about this game in terms of a scaling battle, I'm going to prefer the Ziggs and the Sivir later on.
Oh, showing up off the spellbook teleport. JiaQi nowhere to go. And Viper going to brawl with him. JiaQi flashes away, able to pick up Viper with the double up. Just waits too long. BLG can't make the play fast enough. And the early game damage at JiaQi's misfortune makes it a 1-for-1.
Nice flash by JiaQi. It got him over the boomerang blade of Sivir, so the flash was helping to maximize the damage that he was able to dodge out on. That's a nice skill shot to dodge, as that boomerang was dodged on the way back and did help him get the trade kill. So that's going to hopefully help him get an earlier BT. Well played by JiaQi to get out of that scenario the best he could.
JiaQi Love's vacation just got extended by 1 extra week. JiaQi showing up in the bottom lane here. Is 369 getting attacked in the top once again, and this guy just cannot catch a break. Knight going to get himself another.
So this is why I didn't love the Mordekaiser pick. I kind of got stuck on talking about how him and Trundle can have some mis-synergies, which is true. But also, you're playing Mordekaiser, like the Ziggs was showing, walking through minefields and satchel charges and bouncing bombs can be quite difficult for a champion that is pretty immobile. Like your best defense against that is pressing R on someone and not having to deal with the Ziggs. You have to deal with the Ziggs. He's really tough to deal with from that perspective. So I think that this is one where... All right, a little bit of a miscalc there. That's all right. They ran out of minions. But this is another part of why I'm a little bit cautiously... was kind of cautious about this Mordekaiser from 369 in this game. And do like how Knight has punished that pick so far with a visit top with the bomb for the free kill and then a walk top to get the turret as well.
You know what? At first I was mad at Knight, and now I forgive him. The threshold for satchel charge executing the turret should be the last plate. That just makes sense. It's intuitive, but it appears to not be the case.
Yeah, so you can see the Q was thrown out, flashes under it, so that cannot come back and hit him. I think the flash, too, it wasn't like Viper could flash and drag that back, given where JiaQi dropped it. So, well played, JiaQi.
Good showing up against a very well-respected bot laner there in a 2-versus-1 situation. We asked why the misfortune in this particular game. That gives us somewhat of an answer there. It looks like he's at least comfortable on it and does show up in the earlier stages where it is stronger in these duels than the Sivir. Now eyes towards the dragon that NaiYou is already starting up. They've got Prio in bot lane. Creme pushing in mid. They are well set up to be able to start this one off, and Shun looking in from the outside without clear vision on it, now getting it spotted by that ward over the wall. Shun going to jump over, look to steal, throws down Supreme Display of Talent, snags the dragon, flashes away. NaiYou going to try to chase him down, can't get over the wall. Fengyue and Creme, it's their job now. Shun going to be able to slip back over on the other side. Fengyue slams him into the wall and will give that kill on over. Now Creme going to be able to shuffle back on, who will flash away over the wall himself. nobody going to drop on the top esports side as Creme able to dance away from some further bouncing bombs.
I actually thought Shun was going to sneak out of there. He got the dragon, so that's still, you know, BLG's still pretty happy about that, as Knight's going to try and force Creme to E back to lane. We'll force him out, and BLG's bot lane, given that their jungler is down, given that JiaQi does have that BT, under pressure.
Yeah, JiaQi really kind of ending up the big winner from that exchange as he just gets time to slam away at this turret, getting isolated turret plate gold for himself, and will be able to continue to do so up against Viper's Sivir. Up to nearly a 1,000 individual gold advantage now. That's going to be plenty helpful coming into these later skirmishes. I'm sure he wishes he was going to be contending for a second dragon, but well played by Jun to be able to snag that for the BLG side, despite it costing him his life.
Kind of waiting for this Herald to spawn to see if either team can posture. I think this might be the first time we see BLG group up. And I think that it's a curious point where Bin is more vulnerable to JiaQi, which sounds weird, given that he's vulnerable to an MF, than he is to the top side, given just the sheer amount of MR that he has stacked early on. But curious, because I think that for top esports, I don't know what the answer is between Death Realming Sion or subjugating him and then trying to kill him as a team. I think you have to choose one or the other. And frankly, I think that I kind of want a Death Realm, not Sion at this point. I think that taking away Ziggs could be actually quite interesting to me. Just because I don't think you can kill him in the Death Realm, but you might take away utility where you can win the rest of the fight, or like around a Ziggs not being there, because Creme and JiaQi might be able to play out something cleaner. That said, 369 might be forced to ult here to get out of the dive.
Oh, doesn't manage
Never
to
mind.
channel Death Realm in time. He had Fengyue en route, but just doesn't have the time, doesn't have the opportunity. And now Knight's about to execute another tower, although Rift Herald doing a lot of work in mid lane. Will pick up an outer for JiaQi, and will get plenty more gold into himself and NaiYou. Does nearly equalize the gold off of another kill in bottom lane. BLG really taking the fight to 369 in this game number 2.
Again, I like it. I think Mordekaiser, if left in isolation, you can be a menace, but if attacked, you are immobile. And it has been a very good direction here from Shun to help Bin and honestly just get Knight ahead, because Knight has been the big benefactor. That is a Liandry's Torment done on Knight. We are 2 items at 17 minutes. Evolve Sork Shoes as well, Gordo. This Zig's going to be packing quite the punch.
Yeah, I like your idea of Death Realming the Ziggs more and more as Knight gets further and further
I'm curious what they
game.
do. Yeah. As I don't want to take away Sion. I actually think you might be able to melt Sion in the front line just with Subjugate, and that is the target you really want to subjugate. Whereas, yeah, I mean, 369 is just under siege from the Ziggs. I love how they're moving the Ziggs into the Mordekaiser lane. Mordekaiser struggles with wave clear. Ziggs can really attack him because he's forced to walk up, forced to be under threat of Ziggs' poke. And I think that this direction that BLG is playing with the Ziggs, I mean, this was a pick that Knight really proved he could play at the start of Split 3 last year. He was playing a lot of Ziggs into Azir and playing it very well. And it's great to see him do so again in Split 1 of 2016.
NaiYou subjugated Bin down here. It's come and gone already, and Bin is still looking plenty healthy. Although, looking at this attempt in the bottom side, Shun thought he had an angle onto Fengyue and JiaQi, but it's going to be JiaQi who walks away with the kill. Mega Inferno Bomb does a boatload, though, and takes Fengyue very, very low. But JiaQi strong enough with the Bloodthirster, keeps the fight going. Viper comes in from the bottom side. Viper now in a 1 versus 4 will finally be able to claim JiaQi's life. He also gets a bouncing bomb over to Fengyue, or a bouncing boomerang, rather. Too many bouncing abilities in this game. Viper got 2, though. What a move on the flank.
I can't believe he got 2 there. I thought Viper kind of lost his mind flashing in, but of course, one of the best ADs that we have on the planet, well, he proved me wrong. As Shun, looks like that ult was supposed to go to the close wall, not the far one, as Fengyue was able to get him trapped. JiaQi connects with him here with the Q that bounces through. Great combo from Knight, synergized here with On. And let's see how Viper got this kill, because frankly, this is a pretty straightforward fight. Yeah, just going to be the W. Bouncing through, does find Fengyue. And those 2 kills onto Viper definitely makes that flash in worth it. It looked goofy, but he's going to have the same flash timer as JiaQi. And those 2 kills to his name could be significant. As again, the scaling of BLG, I prefer the Ziggs, prefer the Sivir as this game goes on. I think their game is easier to play out. And this dual threat comp does have a scaling advantage on their end if they're able to execute.
Yeah, 2 kills to JiaQi as well, though. Feels very good for the Misfortune. Gets the Collector done off of that one, and an additional BF sword on top of it. Could very well be a big force in this fight if they are able to get a good bullet time down across the squad. Top Esports already with a second dragon to their name during that exchange, and working towards stacking up that potential Hextech Soul.
Look, I think it's Top Esports right now. I would much rather fight 2 items than 3 items. 3 items, you're risking going up against an IE Sivir and a Deathcap Ziggs. I think fighting now on this 2-item spike, they're going to be a much happier team doing so than fighting 3s. So that makes this next Dragon or a potential early Baron big for me. But meanwhile, 369, he's been set behind all game. That's going to continue here.
He just throws out the Death Realm for a nice trade with the Scion, which, yeah, good for you, buddy, but you do fall down afterwards. Engage towards midnight. Able to clean up a nice and easy kill onto the jungler off that knock-up from On. And more gold being funneled over towards Knight. Meanwhile, JiaQi getting collapsed on by the rest of the squad. Will trade back onto Viper once again. Makes it a 1-for-1.
They're going to get the turret, though, with the Ziggs. I think that's why they went for it. And with the TP, BLG, they just played all 3 waves. They got bot in, they got mid in, and took the outer and the TP to the outer for Scion. Make sure they can farm the 3rd wave and quell the threat of the 1 turret that Top Esports were threatening in that one. So, oh, hold on. They might threaten Bin, though. TP coming in from Knight.
Fengyue and Creme combo to get that stun up against the Emperor's Divide, but Bin is so tanky. He's staying alive. Creme can't stay in range. On is in here to distract him. Gets a nice double knockup, but he'll be focused down. He drops as well. And now in comes Shun trying to knock back in. Creme will isolate him and hand the kill to his mid laner, but Bin's got nowhere to go. He fails the flash, and it will be a 2-for-1 in favor of Top Esports.
Honestly, kind of a wild series. 369 probably going to fall after the Death Realm. What was that from NaiYou? Goes straight to Viper.
Nearly able to take down Shun, but instead NaiYou arrives to the fight to be able to clean that up. TP coming in. This was Fengyue off of the Summoner's Spellbook, but NaiYou's just taken so much damage from Knight. Knocked into the wall. Bullet time by JiaQi. JiaQi gets another. Viper steps up, finishes off Fengyue. Trades back and forth all across the board. 13-13 on the scoreboard.
Chaos erupts here in the LPL, getting back to some familiar territory in a chaotic bout between these two. And I don't know exactly what happened there, Gordo. It felt like a lot of small plays just kind of erupted into one elongated one. As it's about getting Bin now, kind of on the flip side after he TP'd to correct this lane. On's going to go down very quickly because he has no ult. He's holding his sums here because I think he kind of thinks Bin is dead and then wants to impact the TP / is trying to wait for Knight. But he just kind of dies for free. I'm curious why Bin walks back in, just because I think this play could be over for BLG. Like, without Bin. Meaning, like, they just get a 0 for free and walk out. But then Bin walks it again, and the entire fight erupts yet again as he was trying to flash the claw, wasn't able to get out of that stun in time, so ends up flashing after the claw goes through, couldn't get over the wall. Kind of a bang-bang play there. I'll give Bin a little bit of reprieve on that failed flash. I can't believe that Shun won this in the Death Realm. And NaiYou's Portal Limb is kind of wild too. But yeah, I mean, just a lot of kind of sporadic plays. I feel like BLG could have called that one off much earlier, and Top honestly got a pretty decent answer. Like going even, just being, I think, a little bit behind and getting outscaled at this point. I think that fights are going to be better for them now than later. And honestly, even better now that we return to the scoreboard because there's an IE completed on JiaQi, whereas Viper's still waiting to finish his.
Yeah, this is a really strong power spike for JiaQi. Just been getting kill after kill after kill. And now with an item advantage over Viper, maybe making Top Esports feel like they have a great opportunity to take a fight very, very shortly. This would get them onto Soul Point here. NaiYou already making life tough for them with the pillar. Knight already used the satchel charge as well. He can't really get away from this. It's a stun into the wall. It's onto Shun, but Mega
Creme.
Inferno Bomb lands on a 3. Creme in the middle of nowhere. Spell Shield comes out from Viper, and Creme completely wastes the engage. NaiYou now left out to dry, focused down by the rest of BLG, and they get 3 in an instant.
I do not like how Creme played that fight. I think it was a great reaction flash by Knight, but Creme going in that early. Yeah, I feel like that's going to move down Creme to the crop. We can't play Torpedo Azir like that, not in this season. As, okay, 369 is going to death round Bin, but what happens afterwards?
He dies, Cubby. He dies. And let's see how that plays out. He flashes back away. Down he goes regardless. And BLG, you know, there's still 5 or 3 on the map.
I feel like that was the last chance for top esports. It's no longer a sole point. I think they get outscaled from here. Viper's going to have IE completed. Knight did have death cap for that fight, which was a big one. But for me, I think that top esports just overextended past their line. Like, when we get the replay for this, I want you in your head to draw a line from the edge of the Raptor wall to red buff at home. Like that, the most narrow line here, like where Shun and Knight are. I think that Poppy gets to pass this, but afterwards, you can't pass that line. It's very dangerous, too. They don't have the info. And Creme just torpedoes himself through a minefield into a Zigzar, then tries to save it on the Viper, who has a spell shield. I feel like the milk has gone sour there, Creme. I don't know what the attempt was as we tried to make that play. And him torpedoing himself in there through a line that I feel like you really cannot cross, that you have to fight on. It's a big oopsie and a fundamental misunderstanding of what Creme's job should be in that fight and formation.
Yeah, you gotta want, even if the spell shoot isn't there, I don't think that's a fight-winning.
No, it's not.
Emperor's Divide. Like,
yeah, you need the DPS. You can't throw yourself into Zig spells. It was a great reaction flash by Knight, but again, Creme doesn't need to overforce a play like that. That felt like desperation to me.
Definitely. In too deep. Nowhere to go but through, and it does not work out for Creme in that instance. JiaQi's still ahead, but Viper has completed the Infinity Edge now, and now reaching that Sivir goes up in priority, but the tools to do so now less accessible than ever. Creme going to be without that flash for a while. I mean, this top lane is just miserable. This Mordekaiser pick has not worked out one bit. 4-3-6-9. They're calling over NaiYou, trying to make something happen. Bin tries to get away from the pillar, does pull a 90-degree turn, but will crash into the wall afterwards, still able to escape that potential collapse.
Oh my god, Knight's too good, man. Knight is too good. Oh, Creme
gets out of there.
Caught.
Yeah, Shun is here now too. Creme is going to fall down as well. Knight just hosed that play completely. And Fengyue just going to try to escape from this with his life. Oh, On gets prevented from being able to get up against the wall there by a nicely placed pillar. But, oh boy, Creme is dead.
I find so much joy in just watching Knight really, like, oh, wait, On?
Oh, On turning this right back around.
That's
finds a two-man knockup. Is a little bit far away from the rest of the team. Bullet time going to be opened up. Doesn't land mostly onto the cow, though, and Fengyue is going to be the one who falls the lowest. JiaQi is slowed down. Bin finds the knockup, and Bin finds JiaQi.
Well, ended up working on the back half. I felt like On was a little bit too far up at the start, but BLG made it work with Bin. After the nice flash re-engage, did catch JiaQi unaware. He was flashless, so that play was there for BLG. As we'll see if NaiYou can get in. He does have flash. He wants to go for the Spite Steal.
Yeah, coming in through the river. Going to need to be a miracle here from NaiYou. On looking to mark him, though, keep him away. Pillar comes through, and it looks like BLG are going to kite it off of it. Not interested in flipping the game at this particular Baron.
Yeah, there is a threat of death realming the Kiana, so that the only smite on the map would be NaiYou. So I think BLG smart to get off of that one unaware. I do want to return, though, to just the big picture point. I know that we're talking about Creme and kind of how Creme hasn't had his best game. But the fact that Knight, like, LPL is a region where you don't really have players that are, like, really sprinting to pick Ziggs. Ziggs feels like in a way, I think at home, sometimes the antithesis of what LPL usually plays like, which is quickly. Now, Ziggs does have quite the turret-taking ability, which is nice. I think was used very well by Knight in this game. But my point is, a lot of the answers that we usually see to Azir are more aggressive picks. And Knight, again, since Split 3 last year, I think he really took joy in playing the Ziggs into Azir. And it does give you some nice fearless flexibility, because I think Ziggs is a matchup that very uniquely can play into Azir, the likes of which we've seen Knight use this game well. Whether that is just the laning phase being good, having the range advantage, or the satchel to interrupt some of the Azir combos coming in later on. I think that Knight really... this is a matchup where I've really seen him run with it, and he's mastered it to a level that no other mid really has in the LPL, and no one else is really playing the Ziggs into Azir, which is a matchup that I feel like has a lot of good qualities to it, as Knight has shown throughout this game.
Definitely showing off how much he can just continue to add tools to the toolbox to just be able to dominate the role in this region. And so many highlights already this game. This is about to be perhaps 4 pogs in a row for Mr. Knight, assuming he is able to close out this game the way that he has thus far. And
I will
each
say,
and every
Gordo,
one of them well-deserved.
I think that our broadcast voted Knight MVP twice and was not won by him in Split 2 or 3, as
Ooh.
That's a dead poppy.
Yeah, already going to be Fengyue taken off the board. That's going to limit their ability to actually find any kind of hard CC onto the likes of BLG, and they're about to clean themselves up a soul point of their own. Top Esports' ability to contest this, pre-hosed by that earlier pick in mid.
Kind of amazing how easy it is to play Sivir Sion Ziggs later on at this point of the game, you know?
You just group and win.
Yeah, you just kind of just group and profit. And you just get to sit behind one of the tankiest members of the game. Subjugate, Death Realm, I think those are the big tools I'm still looking to see if Top Esports can use those correctly to create a weird fight. I don't know who I would take away. That is a little bit to be determined. I think that's... I'm curious to see who ends up getting Death Realms, as I don't think that Sion's the option.
Well, the other thing is that, yeah, 369 loses the fight to whoever he takes with him at this point. He's so far behind 7 deaths in this game. A 1.7k gold lead over to Bin as they're looking for an engage here on. Sprinting forward, does get blocked by the Steadfast Presence. Going to flash away from that unstoppable onslaught of Bin as well. JiaQi able to keep himself alive, but he's taken such a large chunk of damage. He's got nothing to Bloodthirster back up off of. Creme gets chunked out as well. Mega Inferno Bomb keeps JiaQi lower than ever. He can't even recall safely, and BLG own the map.
And Knight's just in their PCs, actually, like in the software. They're just guessing where JiaQi's basing there. Almost hit the sweet spot on that one. At least gets the barrier for his troubles. Will be reset advantage going over to BLG, but Bin's alone top. On's rotating, gonna find the Trundle.
Yeah, but who's catching who here? Because Bin's just going to wander on down. JiaQi back at half HP in the same instant he comes right out of the base. Down it goes Fengyue once again. 369 going to be the next focus. He flashes but misses on, who's flashed back into the bush. Now he's getting deeper behind enemy lines inside the Death Realm. On going to punt him away, and out he comes, down he goes. Knight going to be able to find that kill as Bin steps forward. No fear in his eyes as he knows he can tank whatever Top Esports can throw at him. Viper stepping forward with the boomerang blades. Finally wins a 1v1 with JiaQi. Knight going to be able to pick off Creme, and Top Esports crumble.
Creme, we're getting styled on by On's Alistar. That's not good. Oh, BLG styling on all of Top Esports as they have scaled, and game 1 may not be quite as fancy or decisive, I should say. This game 2 is not as fancy or decisive as game 1. But nonetheless, it seems like a dominant win here for BLG. A little bit more chaos, but still, BLG, I think, hands down, better team on the day. As NaiYou does not have a flash, does not have a way into the pit, and no hope at stealing the Baron here for Top Esports.
None at all. And BLG, yeah, there was a moment where this game was 13-13, Cubby, if you recall. It has gotten completely out of control since then. BLG just winning fight after fight. And yeah, I mean, NaiYou and 369... attempting a pick like this is a completely different game state than it actually is. They have no chance in this 2-on-2. Bin is just so strong, and of course, the 3-on-3 occurring on the other side of the map is just, once again, Fengyue getting demolished.
You know what, Gordo? You mentioned 2 threes in that, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention 369 rolling a 3 on that play.
Yeah.
As Creme... It's
a threes night, for sure.
Yeah, it's sadly a threes night. He's rolling threes, and BLG sent 3 people in his lane for most of the game to help with that, too. So that's...
Yeah,
definitely some targeted focus from BLG. Attack this Mordekaiser. One that, again, I feel like is very warranted in this draft. Mordekaiser should struggle against Ziggs. BLG's done a very good job of that.
Bin up in the front line. He finds Creme straight up, knocks him out of the shifting sands, and down he goes. Knight claims another life for himself.
We got out-handsed by On, and then we ate a decimating smash. I feel like Creme wants to go back to the fridge, as he's being fridged early in this one, Gordo. And BLG looking to take care of business on this push.
Bin walks up slowly and down smashes and finds Creme. Nowhere for him to go. And it's going to be Knight just continuing to rain hell on the rest of the top esports lineup as they desperately try to stay alive.
Yeah, that Ziggs damage is pretty big at this point. I think they're going to call it at that, as Creme going to respawn here shortly, and BLG not going to overstay, going to make sure they use that Baron recall and get out on this map quickly again. As TP is even going to be used to keep these waves in, as Dragon is spawning in 10 seconds, and this would indeed be Hextech Soul for BLG, and that would indeed be the game. You're not coming back against a Hextech Soul, Ziggs, or Sivir. You need something special for that probably doesn't exist in these games.
Yeah, shot over the wall. On a little bit sectioned away from the rest of the team, but he does have Knight chucking bombs away. Creme trying to come in on the flank, but spotted and marked by Viper. Bin now up here in the face of 3. Does take a fair bit of a chunk there. JiaQi, one who can actually deal damage to him, at least if exposed to him for a while. Mega Inferno Bomb finds JiaQi, though, and he's just got to stand still and hit minions to sustain through it. 369 gets blown up by Knight, and Shun finds the carries into the back line, isolates both Creme and JiaQi, and top Esports are hosed. A triple kill to Shun. BLG 5 for 0, clean ace to close out this series.
BLG are ascending. Top Esports, I would say that they're persevering. It's definitely not a state of nirvana, as things are on fire over there in the top Esports camp. The vets are not helping the youngins be incorporated, as frankly, I think that I can see almost more problems from 369 and Creme than I can the new members of top Esports, as that means that there are problems everywhere for top Esports if the vets aren't playing well. Top Esports have really struggled at the start of this year, and BLG, with 4 out of the 5 members that we're used to seeing together, paired up with Viper as an AD, are looking like the scary team we really thought they could be in the LPL so far.
Absolutely are here, and you know, you don't need every single member to pop off every single game. It's a little bit of a quieter laning phase this time around from folks like Viper, but they don't need him to be winning out in these 2v2s each and every single game. Knight ends up getting funneled from a focus towards Bin. They just try to hose 369 out of the game nice and early, and they're able to do that in droves. He gets the first kill, but after that, it's just a 3-man top over and over and over again, and at least a good 50% of the time, that kill ends up going over to Knight and giving him the advantage to be able to carry through the rest of the game.
Yeah, Knight is just in mid-season form is what it feels like, as Creme, I think, really struggled in that series. Top Esports really struggling as a team right now as they're trying to incorporate a lot of new pieces and a lack of experience. And again, for me, it just really comes down to the experienced members are not the ones helping. They're the ones that are getting punished, getting caught, and I think making the game harder for the young ones that are trying to play at this level. And it's not a good look for Top Esports, as they definitely look like the bottom of Group Ascend and the team that a lot of other teams in Group Perseverance and Group Nirvana should be targeting.
Yeah, we made it a point of emphasis at the start of the night that we wanted to see the veterans step up here for Top Esports, and they stepped down tonight. It was not a good night for 369 or for Creme. I think JiaQi got to show us a little bit, and you know, NaiYou had some decent plays in there as well for portions of the early game, but yeah, I mean, these giant deficits that were accrued before too long in both games just ended up taking them out of the competition.
Yeah, and I think that part of why that game just looked closer, too, in the game, too. Like, yes, Top Esports did some okay things. I think that there were a couple of sloppy sequences from both teams, but also BLG scaling. So, when we talked about that 4th Drake in the game that spawned, that would have been sole point for Top Esports, I was like, hey, they could probably have to hit this point hard because it doesn't get better for them from here on out. We kind of saw that throughout, and Top Esports did not